Hello, you guys. I'm going to wait a minute or two and let a couple people more get on. So first, I want to ask if you guys know how to use the chat feature. The chat button is just right down here. And so, yeah, so you can, if you guys have questions, and you go ahead and you can click it. And then you can send it just to me, or you can send it to everyone. But let me see, let me make sure we're loud enough. But yeah, I've gotten a ton of, let me see. Tracy, do you have your camera off? You have your volume off as well, which is, yes, okay. I just wanted to make sure that that there wasn't like an issue on my side. So I'm gonna wait 2 more minutes and then we're gonna hop in. And so what's gonna happen is people will join in and out. But yeah, we're gonna get it popping. Okay, so my name is Summer. I'm the owner of My Simply Perfect Events, and I am the creator of the Academy, which is it's the Academy for wedding and event planners. Something I always tell people is that you don't have to be, let me pull this up real quick. You don't have to be into weddings in order to be a planner. So a lot of people think that, you have to be, they say, well, I want to learn about events, but I don't want to do weddings. That's totally fine. That's how a lot of people operate. That's how a lot of people work. Okay, so one of the main questions that I'm always asked, this is my website, I just pulled it up so we're not just looking at a blank screen. But one of the number one questions that people ask me is like, how do I get started, right? They're like, how do I get started? I think that's everyone's number one question, right? So it's kind of like, how do I get started? Where do I go? It's a confusing thing to do. So in the Academy, I'm actually just going to go ahead and click here. It's on the website now, which is so exciting. So in the Academy, we talk about all of that stuff, okay? So we talk about your branding all the way to, all of it, right? So it's your branding, it's your social media, even your like your catchphrase, right? So I always say relax and let us do the work, right? So in my business, I just want people to know I want my brides and I want my other customers. I don't just do weddings, but I want everyone to know, like relax, let us do the work. We're going to do the work for you. We're going to handle it for you, But anyway, so let me go into this real quick. I want to go into this actually. I want to pull this up. And then, like I said, if you guys have questions, if you guys have anything that comes up, then I want you to send me a chat, and we will go ahead and get started. Okay, let me go ahead and pull this up. So I want to talk about your branding a little bit, because branding is a huge part of getting started. Let me go ahead and share this. Okay, so branding is a huge part of anyone's business, okay? And I think a lot of people, they start off and they say, well, I have to have a logo, right? Well, I know I need to get a logo. I need to get a logo going, logo, right? And that's not necessarily true. So I don't personally have a logo. This is how I write everything for my business. So, like this is the same font. This is what you'll see in my emails typically, but you don't have to have a logo. So you don't have to have like a wedding cake or, a wedding gown or a bride standing there. You don't have to have any of that stuff. When we talk about branding, one of the biggest things right now, especially because of where we are in business and just period, is your online presence. Okay. So one of the things I always talk to people about is, when we have Instagram. So if you guys don't have an Instagram account, actually, let me stop myself. If you don't currently have an Instagram account for your business, I want you to stop, and I want you to I'm going to give you a couple minutes. If you already have a couple names that you've thought of, or if there are some names that you kind of want to play around with, I want you to write those down. And if you need help coming up with a name, we can talk about that too, right? So again, just send me a chat and we will talk about that tonight. Hold on, let me go back. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a second, like I said, to go ahead and think of what your business name is. And again, if you already have your business name and you don't have an Instagram, I want you to take a quick second. I don't know if it's going to cancel out of this. So if it's going to cancel you being in this meeting, then you can wait. But what I want you to do is I want you to actually, when we get off of our meeting tonight, I want you to go to Instagram and see if the name of your business is available. Okay. So I have a lot of students who are in, like the DMV area, Virginia, DC, all that, Maryland. And a lot of them have had to add, VA or DMV to their Instagram handles, like to their Instagram names. So when we get off of this, what I want you to do is I want you to go and reserve the name. Sorry, I totally I had a brain fart, but I want you to go and reserve the name. Yes. Hold on, I do have a message. Let's see. Hi, someone is here talking to us. Okay. Okay, perfect. So, do you already have your Instagram name? It's already reserved, you're saying? Okay, so somebody's asking a question. So they said that they said their name on Instagram and that they're still in the learning phase and haven't launched their business officially. Okay, so a lot of people are in that phase. So what I talk about a lot is forward movement, right? So forward movement is not reserved. Okay, so when we get off of this meeting, I want you to go to Instagram and I want you to go and reserve the name. Okay, so because it doesn't matter that you haven't started your business, that you haven't launched yet, I want you to be able to have the name, okay? Because forward movement is everything. Forward movement is what I talk about all the time with my students. So it's kind of like when you're working out. You're working out and you're going, a lot of people think that it's like all in, and you're like, I'm not going to have sugar, I'm not going to eat meat, and I'm not going to have dairy, and it's like, but just yesterday you were eating cartons of ice cream, and it's like, let's not throw everything out the window. You know what I mean? Like, what is our forward movement? Okay? Because forward movement is what helps us get to where we need to be. And that's really the truth, because a lot of this stuff is confidence. I have a lot of students who are like, you know what? I gained so much confidence in your class. Like in this course, I gained confidence. Confidence, a lot of times to me, I think knowledge is power. Knowledge gives us confidence. Okay? So rather than kind of like tiptoeing around in meetings and trying to, figure out what the next, like fake it till you make it type of thing, you can fake it till you make it, but you don't really have to anymore. Okay? So like I said, forward movement. So find the name of your company that you want to have. And like I said, when we get off of this, go to Instagram and reserve it. You don't have to put anything up. And I know that it's public and I know that it's whatever. It doesn't matter. You have it reserved. Just because you have an Instagram account doesn't mean that you're going to have 1 million people coming to it. It just means that you have the name, okay, that you've already reserved it, and it's forward movement. The other thing too, if you have an Instagram account, a business Instagram account, you better make sure that is public. I actually got on one of my students about this 2 nights ago. So she sent me an email and said something about she has a couple different Instagram accounts. She sent me an email and I guess I didn't, hi, hey. Anyway, so I don't know, I wasn't following this particular page that she had. And when I went to it, I was like, I went and requested to follow, and I was going through liking pictures, and I said, wait a minute, hold on. I was like, no. And I emailed her and I said, why is your page private? What are you doing? Like, this is crazy. She started laughing, and I was like, no, make your page public, Okay, so any questions so far? I get excited and I start rambling. So if you guys have questions, it's fine. Just go ahead and let me know. Okay. Also, if you do have a question, you can unmute yourself. And okay. All right. So, okay. So aside from making sure that your page is public, I really think that when it comes to business that we should try not to, we shouldn't have too much cursing, especially we need to look in the industry that we're in, right? So also don't forget that people can see what you like, okay? So what happens, this happened a long time ago. One of my, I used to work with this. There was this DJ that I used to work with, and I happened to look, there's like a tab where you can see the things that people like. I don't really go to that tab anymore, but at the time I did. And it was just like a bunch of literally the pages were like big booty hoes. Like that's what every page was like, big booty this, big booty, and I mean, whatever, live your life, do your thing, but personally, I think maybe, that's just something we need to keep in mind. Hi, Mark, if you want to unmute yourself, then you go ahead, then you can. If anybody wants to unmute themselves, then you can. Do you have a question right here? What is your name? Is it Tatiana?
Oh, yeah. Titania.
Titania. Yeah, did you have a question?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. You were unmuted, so I wasn't sure. Oh. So again, the thing about the forward movement is that I think we get in our own way a lot. So then we say, I'm not currently an event planner, right? So like Tracy, if we say, I haven't launched my business yet, I'm working on it, I haven't launched. I think that launching is multiple steps, okay? So you don't have to have some big, beautiful website. That's something we'll talk about in a minute. Don't spend tons of money on a website, especially at the beginning. That's an unnecessary expense, but again, we'll talk about that later. Add to your story daily. Okay, so this is on Instagram. If you are not familiar with Instagram, if you're not into it, if you're too busy, whatever it is, you need to find some time, or you need to find a company that will do that for you. So there is a solution for all of these things, okay? There are companies that will find pages that, that they like to get attention to your page, but we want to talk about right now, we want to talk about adding to your story, okay? So again, let's say I don't have meetings. I don't have like in-person meetings for a while. Okay. But I still have content that I can put, that I can go ahead and post in my stories. So let's say you're just starting out. Okay. You have your Instagram account. You want to start adding to your story, but you don't have any clients. That's fine. Okay. Let's say you go to the farmer's market. You go outside and it's a beautiful day. How many people don't post pictures of food as much, except for Mark, who is, I'll tell you guys about Mark later. But anyway, but Mark posts pictures of his food because it keeps him alive. So this is something, but people don't post pictures of their food as much as they used to, but it's the same thing as going outside and seeing a beautiful day, right? Or you go to the farmer's market and there is a row of beautiful flowers. Snap that picture of those flowers. Snap the picture of the beautiful sky, okay? It doesn't have to have a caption, especially in your story, right? So just so what it's doing is it's making a presence for yourself. So for me, I mean, as bad as it sounds, but it's true, I have a routine on my social media with people that I follow. So, like I might wake up, roll over, look at my phone, and I'm like, oh, what is Eva Chen up to today? I mean, listen, we all do it. You know what I mean? So I have a wedding Instagram. I also have a personal Instagram. So on my wedding Instagram, I have people that I look at every single day. because they're in my stories and I expect to see them every single day. And their content isn't always work that they've done. Okay. So your content, this is about creating something out of nothing. Okay. So your content can be, like I said, you go outside, you snap a picture of the sky because it's beautiful. You go to the farmer's market, you go to Trader Joe's, right? Wherever it is, but you have to learn how to start creating some content for yourself. Again, when it's on social media. Same with Twitter. I hate Twitter. I cannot stand tweeting. I only really go there for like gossip on my reality shows. Like, I go there because I need to see what's happening or what other people think on the Housewives. You know, they think probably the same thing I do. But when it comes to Twitter, you still have to have a presence, okay? So you need to have these, so rather than linking everything from, I'm sure you guys have seen on, I'm sure you've seen on like Facebook or especially on Facebook actually, and maybe on Twitter as well, there's just a link, right? So it might say beautiful day outside and then it's a link, but it's a link to their Instagram page or it's a link to their Facebook page. This is what I say on Twitter. Don't tweet links from Instagram. Don't tweet links from Facebook. And it's the same thing as Facebook. Don't put up links, okay? Like don't put up links from Instagram. Take the actual time to go and post a photo. Because what happens is when we're scrolling through, right? On Twitter especially, it's just words. It's just words, words, words. If they are scrolling through and there's an actual picture, it stops them for a second. So it makes you stand out real quick, right? So let me go to this real quick. Any questions? Well, I'm here now. Okay. I'm going to go to my Twitter. Again, I don't tweet often. I have the presence because I'm supposed to, but I'm not necessarily a fan of it. Okay. Okay, so I speak my mind. This is something maybe you guys already know about me or something you'll learn about me. I definitely speak my mind. So there were tons of like holiday gift guides and everybody was talking about, oh, hi, Coco. Sorry, I see one of my students out here. Anyway, so everybody.
Hey, Summer.
Hey, they were tweeting like these gift guides, and it was irritating me because there weren't any people of color. So then I put this together, and I was like, if your holiday gift guide doesn't include people of color, start over. Love 2018. Okay, I speak my mind. But anyway, so again, if you're on Twitter and you're scrolling through, this is going to stand out more than just some words, right? Again, this picture of this bride that I thought was really beautiful. So like I said, we don't want to always just put links. As often as I can, I try to post actual photos, okay? I like to post actual photos again, like I said. So this is a link, but this link actually shows up, you know, as what the actual link is. Okay, let me go back to this. Okay, here we go. Okay, so back to Instagram because Instagram is huge. I get most of my business through referrals. And then the other part of my business that I don't get through referrals, I get through social media, and most of that is through Instagram. So what we want to do is this. So do you guys know how to link other pages that have mentioned you? And if not, it's totally fine. So let me just explain this. So let's say that I had a birthday party. No, I had a wedding. I send it to Essence Magazine. Essence Magazine posts it. And then I say, oh, great, because they have the ability or the capability for me to share it in my story. So Essence posts my wedding, and then they put it in their Instagram. I then share it in my story, or I share it on my page, because that gets more attention to my page. And it's also, it's not just like flexing, right? But it's a little bit of your resume. So you're saying, you know, hey, look, my work is also on Essence Magazine. My work is on Essence's page. Essence just shouted me out. Look at it. Do you know what I'm saying? And so you want to do that every time. And it doesn't just have to be Essence. We need to start from wherever we are, Okay, so let's say it's the photographer who has 400 followers, right? Who cares? What we want to do is we want to link from other pages that mention you, because again, it's part of it is to flex, but the biggest part of it is to show people that we know what we're doing, we're out there working, and other people rock with us. Okay, hashtag and at people. So my hashtag is my Simply Perfect. I do this every time, but I think it's my Simply Perfect events. And that's my hashtag. So a lot of the vendors that I work with, they have that hashtag there, right? So they'll add that hashtag. If there is another photographer who I work with, Leah and Mark, I would hashtag Leah and Mark if that's the hashtag for their company, okay? You also want to at photographers. So if you're not familiar with Instagram, when I say at, it's basically like a call sign, okay? So when I at, let's say somebody ats my Simply Perfect, I get a notification saying, hey, Summer, someone's talking about your company, okay? Someone has mentioned your company, which is what you're supposed to do. So to me, I think just aside from a professional courtesy, it's, it's a scratch, you scratch my back, I scratch yours type of thing. But it's also just giving credit where credit is due, okay? Because I don't get credit sometimes. There's like certain publications who only give credit to the photographers. And it's frustrating as a planner when you're like, I put together every single aspect of the wedding. Now, of course, it's the photographer's work, but you would like to be mentioned, right? So there are some publications and there are some other vendors who don't necessarily tag everybody, but I try to do it as much as possible because I want to let people know, like, you're going to tag me in that work. Like, I'm gonna get the attention for this. And then Facebook, again, you don't have to just add, don't just have all of your accounts linked. Take the extra minutes to separately post on each platform. Then again, you're gonna find the platform that works best for you and that you like the best. But just make sure that you're actually trying to take some time, even if it's just a picture. And it doesn't have to be every day. I do Instagram often. I don't do Facebook often. Clearly, I don't do Twitter as often, but I still have a presence there, okay? Snapchat is unnecessary for business. If you want to do it for fun, do it, but it's unnecessary. I mean, I can go into a million different reasons, but just don't think that you need that for business. So I want to pause. I want to interrupt myself, and I want to go back a little bit because I want to reiterate why this stuff is important and why it's important to your brand and why it's important to getting started. Okay. So one of the number one questions, again, people say is, how do I get started? How do I get started? I plan events for my friends all the time. I plan birthday parties for my for my friends all the time. Baby showers, I'm the go-to. Everyone says, hey, Summer, can you plan my blah, blah, blah? But I don't have a business doing it. But I'm not certified, but I don't do it professionally, right? Well, I don't do it full-time. I also have this, okay? The I don't do it full-time thing, we're throwing this out the window. A lot of times we have to unlearn certain things, okay? So there's like this negative connotation to not planning full-time, okay? There's nothing wrong with another paycheck. I mean, look at you, how hard you're working that you have 2 jobs. Okay, so don't let anybody shame you, because you don't do it full time. Like I said, a lot of people, they used to ask me, do you just do this, or do you do something? And I worked at a law office for years, and I used to lie. I'd be like, this is all I do, because there was such a negative connotation to it, right? But also, another thing people say to me is they're like, I don't know when I should leave my job. I had a student who's still currently a student, who said they were having an issue. They were struggling because they said, I don't know if I should get another job or if I should, because they got laid off of their job. I don't know if I should apply for another job or if I should just focus on home. And I said, oh, no. Apply for another job. It's going to take you a minute to get off your feet. Like, it's going to take you a minute to get on. No, get that other job, get your health care, get a second paycheck. You see what I'm saying? So that you can make enough money to enroll in a school, in order to pay for a website, in order to pay for business cards. Okay. So if you have that thing in your mind where you're thinking, I'm not full-time or whatever, throw that stuff to the side. Okay. We don't care about that stuff. That's old stuff. We're learning new stuff now. Okay. So again, we're talking about forward movement. So we just talked about Instagram and the moves, like the online presence, like some of the do's and don'ts to Instagram. Again, this is all about your branding and how do you get started. I know this is like a weird, what's the word? Analogy, that's not the word. But, people saying, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? I know, I'm sorry for the vegans, but it's true, right? So how do I break in the wedding industry? How do I start in the wedding industry? Well, one step at a time. Online presence. First of all, like I said, what's the name of your business? So for those of you who joined us a little bit after we started, I was telling everyone, get the name of your business. Okay, so you could say the name of my business is Bravo TV Weddings. Okay, clearly I love reality TV, but you could say it's Bravo TV Weddings. All right, I mean don't do that obviously, but then go to Instagram when we're done here tonight and reserve the name. Again, you don't have to be ready to start taking in brides today. You don't have to be ready to start doing baby showers and birthday parties today. But this is about forward movement, right? So you're starting to put yourself out there, even if it's just requesting or reserving your Instagram name, okay? And then also, if anyone has any questions for me, you can go ahead and you can unmute yourself and you can ask me a question, or you can drop it in the chat section and we can, I can answer your question there. Okay, so something else I want to talk about is I want to go straight to Canva, okay? Canva, it's canva.com, Canva. So you know how you see people with, you're looking on Instagram or you're looking at people's business cards and you're like, oh, man, like, I don't know Photoshop, I'm not I don't know Photoshop, I'm not a designer, I'm not all these things. Well, listen. Canva is going to save your butt with those things. Canva is a free online tool. That's where you can put lettering. Like I'm sure most of you guys saw my my Instagram post where I have like writing on the top of the picture. Canva all day. It's really, really easy. If you want to find a logo, like I was saying, a lot of people think they need a logo, like business means logo, I don't necessarily think that, so you don't need to have a bride as your logo or a groom as your logo, or, we can kind of think outside of the box when it comes to logos. Like I said, I don't have a logo. My logo would be, I guess, the way that I write my business name, right? So I guess this would be my logo, but it's not a logo necessarily. But again, if you feel like you need to have a logo, go to Canva. Like I said, it's a free tool. Some of the photos, again, if you feel like you do need to have a photo, some of the photos, they might be like $1, but for the most part, you can go on there and do whatever you need to do. Again, you can go outside and take a picture of the beautiful sky, right? It's beautiful outside. We're going to take a picture of the sky. You upload it to Canva. You can do it from your phone. You can do Canva on your phone, not just on your computer. It's a little easier on your computer. Well, for me, it's easier on my computer. But anyway, you can do it from anywhere, okay? Take a picture of the sky and, what a beautiful day it is. You can pick it. You can pick the font. You can pick how big you want it, download it, put it on your Instagram story, okay? When it comes to colors, you don't want to be too trendy with your colors. When I first started, I was, I don't know if you guys remember when like chocolate brown and baby pink, like light pink was like the color combination. Yeah, that was like my joint. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. My business cards, my website, I had like printouts and stuff like that. I had everything in this brown and baby pink, and I had these stripes, and I really thought I was doing something. Well, I was doing something until the trend went away. And that's the problem, is that it's a trend. So try to find something that's a little more classic. Again, these are all just my opinions. You can throw them out the door, out the window, in the trash, whatever you want. but don't. But yeah, try to find something that's not too trendy. A lot of people who are in sororities, a lot of people want to make their colors, you know, the colors of their business, the colors of their sorority. I'm not going to say not to do it, but try to think outside of the box a little bit. This also comes down to design. I have brides who come to me and they're like, I want red and white, right? Because they're deltas. I want red and white. And I'm like, well, red and white is a beautiful color combination, but it's very harsh when it comes to a wedding. It's a very harsh color combination. So I'm like, how can we find, what can we do to get colors that match, right? That colors that kind of mesh, you know, that blend well together, right? So kind of like an ombre feel. Again, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but this is how I do design. Okay. This is how I design my brides' weddings or my clients' weddings, not just my brides, but my grooms as well. You want to make sure that you maintain your branding throughout your entire business. Okay. So now my business cards, everything looks like my website. My business cards look like this. There is a picture in the back. Like there's this, I can't think, Damask, I guess. Yeah, it's Damask. There is this in the background. My business cards are all black and they all have this same font. But like I said, you just want to make sure that you maintain your branding throughout. I have a friend actually on Instagram. I try not to push my opinions too much, like to people who haven't asked, you know, because I don't want to be like the all-knowing, you know, business person, like, let me tell you what you should do with this. Anyway, they own a photography company and every single time they post a picture, it kills me. They put their logo on the picture, but it's a different font every time. And I'm like, you know, but I let it go. Okay. They have shirts when they go and shoot, they do all sorts of stuff. And I think it's really great and they're doing their thing, but it always kills me from like that standpoint. Right. So, you know, you want to try to maintain your branding all throughout. Again, you want to maintain the colors, you want to maintain the fonts all throughout. Again, business cards, Canva. They have an actual template that talks about business cards. Not talks about, it's a business card template, okay? They give you a ton of options for fonts, for colors, all that stuff, okay? Again, Canva. I cannot stress this enough because you guys, it is a free tool, okay? Another thing people come to me about is they say, I don't think I have enough money to start my business. And that always, you know, I'm always like, what do you need money for? Okay. And this is a real question because sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And so I'm curious when people say, you know, like I don't have the money to start whatever. Okay. So there are some people who want to also add inventory to their company. So what they want to do is they want to be able to do candles and linens and things like that. This is what I say. If that is stopping you from beginning, don't worry about it. Okay? If having inventory is unless you only want to do inventory, right? Like, so if your entire business is like a chair business and you don't have any chairs and you got to wait till you can get some chairs, right? But if you want to do events, you know, if you want to do events but you don't know how to get started, you know, but you also want to, hold on, let me pause real quick. Something else that I've realized is that sometimes people don't know how these things get done, okay? So sometimes you guys don't know, well, how do the flowers get there? How do the candles, like, where do you get the candles from that go on the table? Where do the plates come from? Or where there are companies that you order all this stuff from. And you don't have to purchase it. You don't have to be the one to set it up. And again, this is not for huge budget events, okay? I don't have any inventory. When I did have an inventory, I hated it because it stressed me out. I used to have linens. I used to have chargers. You know, chargers, it's the plate under the plate, like the decorative plate under the plate. And it just stressed me out because at the end of an event, I want to go home. You know, like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to go home. Like, I don't want to sit up here and have to collect my chargers, and chargers are heavy, or, you know, collect my linens. Also, I used to think like, you know, I would make a lot of extra money and whatever. I didn't make enough extra money it wasn't worth it, like I said, at the end of the night to have to stay and pick these things up. Any questions for me yet? If you have any questions, you can go to unmute yourself and you can go ahead and ask. And if not, then I will continue. Or else, like I said, you can go ahead and drop something here in the chat section. And then we will go from there. Let me see. But yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things is like, how do you get clients? And a lot of people say, you know, yeah, that's the number one thing, right? How do you get clients? How do you get clients? There are so many ways to get clients. And something I always tell my students, I'm like, you have to get ready. So you have to stay ready. I was about to mess that up. You have to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Okay. So it's like one of those things where, you know, brides might be like, you know, I gotta lose 30 pounds before my wedding, or, you know, like brides don't do it as much, or what I've noticed, but, you know, they're like, I gotta lose 100 pounds before my wedding. And it's like, dang, how long were you dating this person? Like, you knew you guys were getting there. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like now you're not eating and we're sitting up here in these, you know, cake tastings and you can't taste your own food. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and you're stressed out. And you're miserable and you hate everyone because you're dieting and I hate you too. So let's not do this, okay, guys? Let's not do this to ourselves, okay? So you don't have any clients right now. That's fine. You have an Instagram account. You have a website. It could be simple. We'll talk about that, like I said. But don't be at an event and someone says, oh, you know, Wendy does events. Do you guys know that Wendy does events? Yeah, Wendy does events. She's really, really great. Oh my God, Wendy, my daughter is having a graduation party and what do you think? Can you do this? And you're like, you know, because you don't know where to go, right? You don't know where to go with any of it. This is what I tell all of my assistants, and take this however you will. This is what I tell my assistants at every event that I have. I always tell them, because they're my assistant, so obviously they're not up under me all the time. That's the whole point of having an assistant, that they can go and do things like while I'm handling something else. I always tell them, if somebody asks you a question, you always say, let me check on that for you, okay? You never say no. You never say no, because it irritates people, and a lot of people don't know what our role is as planners. And so it's easier just for you to say that and then for me to come and handle it, right? So I bring that up to say, if someone were to come up to Wendy and say, oh my God, Wendy, I heard that you did birthday parties. My daughter's having a 16th birthday party and it's gonna be kind of chill. We want it at the house, but I know that I want balloons and I know that I want to get it catered and blah, blah, blah. I want Wendy to be at the place where she goes, yes, sounds good. Let me get your information. Let's talk. Okay? Because I want Wendy to be able to say, yes, even though Wendy doesn't know she doesn't have a contract yet, right? But Wendy has an Instagram. Wendy has a Twitter. Wendy has a Facebook. Also, when I say Facebook, I mean a Facebook business page. They're free. I'm sure they're free by now. Yeah, it's a business page. They used to be called fan pages, but I think they're business pages now. But your personal Facebook page is not the page I'm talking about. Okay. And so again, like I said, you want to stay ready so that you don't have to get ready, because when business comes to you, you want to be able to say, yep, I can do it. I didn't always have all these pictures on my website. I didn't always do corporate events. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you have to kind of like stumble your way through, but again, you want to be at the place where you're able to say, yes, I can do that. And then put me up. Okay, any questions? This is totally your time to ask me whatever you guys have. Any questions? No. Okay, I'm going to talk about contracts real quick with you guys. And then I'm going to talk about the Academy. I know some of you guys know about the Academy. I see one of my students on here. I do talk about the Academy a lot because I love it. So one of the number one things people used to always talk about, or I've spoken to hundreds of students, hundreds of potential students, people who are always like, I don't know where to start, right? I don't know where to start. I need help. One of the number one, what's the word I'm looking for? It only happens when I'm doing something like this where I forget all my words. So normally I can talk, I can talk everybody's ear off, okay, about everything. And only when I'm like doing a Q&A that I'm like, oh, what's the word? Oh, reserved, right. But one of the main issues that a lot of people have is they say no one is willing to help, right? No one's willing to help. No one wants to help. There are other planners in my area. Nobody wants to answer questions. I thought it was just like that in Atlanta, right? And I came up with a lot of the people who are out there right now. And I mean, it's been that way the whole time, right? And to me, I think there's a fine line, I suppose, okay? Because people get married every single day. So there's enough business out there for all of us. There's enough business for all of us. I'm not saying you have to give everybody every trade secret that you have, but just because I tell you that you can find cheap linens at eFavorMart, write that down. It's eFavorMart.com. Once again, eFavorMart.com. They have very inexpensive items with like for events and stuff. They have everything there, and they're inexpensive. They always have some sort of a sale that makes you be like, dang, if I don't buy this, I'm ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, if I don't stop everything I'm doing and buy these linens, then what am I doing? Anyway, I've been using eFavorMart almost my entire career, actually. They've been around for a very long time. Very inexpensive linens. And this is when I did offer linens. But anyway, so just because I tell you guys eFavorMart, that doesn't mean that, oh my God, I just gave them all my clients, right? I think there's enough room for everybody. People get married every single day, right? And so that's something to also remember and to think about. And that's one of the reasons why I started the Academy, was because there is still a need for people. You know, there's a need for someone to be out there answering questions, for someone who is actually in the business answering questions, right? So I would look online, you know, because I didn't know what I was doing, you know, and I was like, when I first started, I was like, okay, maybe there's a school. Well, the main thing that I found was that there was just information on a website and no one was like explaining anything, right? And so a lot of the stuff would be very paper heavy, but they weren't explaining things about business, in my opinion. So again, I started it for a number of reasons, but that's another one of the things, is that I wanted to be able to walk people through situations that they're having and walk people through issues that they're having in their business. But also, one of the number one things is, how do I get started? Where do I go? Okay. And this is something we obviously talk about in the Academy. So something that we do talk about a lot is we talk about contracts. And if you don't have a contract, I'm not saying you necessarily need the one that I have, but if you are in the Academy, you get a copy to use for your clients. And there's no need to reinvent the wheel. It's an attorney drafted contract, and you can go through, obviously, and make the changes that you need to make. But let me tell you how important a contract is. Bridezillas are real and they exist, okay? Something else that I found out is that Momzillas exist. Momzillas for their child's first birthday party. I had this happen last year, and actually it was like a Dadzilla. Anyway, it was the whole family. But what happens is, a lot of times people are like, they realize that they've spent so much money. They're like, oh my gosh, maybe one thing went wrong. And then who are they going to come to? They're going to come to your planner. We literally get blamed for everything. It's ridiculous. And that's why I always tell people, like, you know, when it comes to like bad reviews, like, I have bad reviews. I don't care anymore about them. They used to like tear me apart. I used to be like, oh my God, everybody, you know, like, it put me in the worst mood. But I also understand that people really exaggerate. And my goal is that I'm working so hard and I'm doing so much and I'm doing such a good job that nothing that anybody says about me can overshadow the good work that I've done, right? So there's nothing anyone can say about me. There's nothing any bride can say about me that any of my potential clients, or any of the clients who were happy with me, can overshadow. But when it comes to contracts, you have to have an airtight, solid contract. I'm going to go through just a couple things here. Let me see, because, like word of mouth obviously doesn't work. You want to have a contract. And again, one of my students recently said that they didn't want to use the contract because it was they felt like it was a little too formal. And I was like, this formal contract is going to save your butt when you have a crazy client, right? So even if it's a birth, I've used this contract for 12 years, and it's been updated with my attorneys every time I have an issue, actually. Okay, so I'm not going to go through the whole thing, of course, but I'm going to go through this part here real quick. So right here it said, and then also in the academy, I do walk you through the contract. I walk you through the entire thing so that you understand it, and so that you can also explain it to your clients and you understand what's going on. But this right here, we talk about the scope of services. So, lawyer talk, right? So we talk about the client's wedding or the event, whatever, the client's birthday party, anniversary. Scheduled for, you want to put the wedding date, okay, for approximately this number of guests. So even this little tiny thing, I want you guys to, real quick, someone is unmuted and I hear you in the background. Oh, let me see. I think that's it. Okay. So I had clients, this was 7 years ago, and the wedding date we had it, whatever, and it was for like 150 people. It was, about 150 people. And the bride calls me one day, and I love these clients. They were amazing, and we loved each other. So anyway, so she calls me so upset. She's freaking out. And I'm like, what's happening? Like, what's going on? What's wrong? Her mother-in-law, or her soon-to-be mother-in-law, was inviting, she had made a Xerox copy of the wedding invitation. And they lived in they're from a really small town, and the couple, they were like high school sweethearts. And the groom's mother made Xerox copies and was just handing them out to people, the grocery store, the pharmacy, restaurant. And so what happened was, the way that the groom found out was that he was in town doing something, and he was walking across the street, and his babysitter from when he was little, was like, hey, DJ, oh my God, I'm so excited about your wedding. And he was like, oh, thanks, and he just was like, oh, she heard I was getting married, And then it kind of went a little further. And then he went to the pharmacy and he saw someone else. Oh my God, DJ, we are so excited about your wedding, blah, 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 blah. So this happened three people in a row. And he's like, why do all these people know about my wedding? He knew it was his mom, but he didn't know what happened. So he goes to his mom and he's like, Mom, are you telling everybody about the wedding? I don't want everyone to know all the details. I don't want them showing up. And she's like, well, I invited a couple extra people. And he's like, what? He's like, wait, what are you doing? Wait, excuse me? She ended up inviting 150 extra people. Yep. And she couldn't remember everybody. Yeah. And the bride was like freaking out. She called me and she's like, I'm going to kill her. And I was like, yeah, you got to invite those people. She was like, I don't care. I will call everybody. So the problem is that his mom couldn't remember everyone she invited because she literally made Xerox copies and was passing them out to people in the town. Like I said, small town. Anyway, so what happened was I knew that I needed to have more staff. And so right here where it says number of guests, if it's 150 guests and it goes to 175, I'm not going to charge more for that. That's just me personally, because I can handle that extra 25 people. If it's going to be 150 extra people, if it's going to be 100 extra people, 50 extra people, then yes, I need to go ahead and charge for that. So see, something like that, it's like, it seems like a small thing. As a planner, it's a big thing because I have to get that handled, but it covers me because I need to make sure that the event goes perfectly, that the event is great and that it's handled. And we now had to prepare for at least 100 extra guests, right? So it's one of those things. Another thing, I'm not going to go through this whole thing. But yeah, you want to talk about force majeure. This is when, this is basically, it's like an act of God. These are things that you can't, control. So there's flooding in your town, or there's flooding like in Houston. I had a wedding in Houston. There wasn't flooding then, but there's flooding in Houston often. Well, if I'm supposed to fly into Houston, but I can't because there's flooding, then I'm covered. I'm completely covered. Okay. Real quick, any questions, anybody? No. Okay. So this is what I want to do. I want to bring us to, this is like a little announcement. You guys are like the first ones to hear this. Okay. Let me pull it up. I know you guys were like, this better be good. It might not be that good to you guys, but it's good to me. Okay. So before I had the academy and I taught all of the classes, I taught them live. Hold on, let me do this. Hold on, let me look at this. Sorry. Sorry, I just want to, okay, all right. I just want to make sure that we're all together. So before, I taught all the classes live, and that did kind of limit us. I mean, it's not a bad thing. I still teach a lot of the classes live, but I would have people who would come to me and they would say, okay, the only time that I have to myself before going to work and my children is 5 o'clock in the morning. That's the only time I have. Well, I'm not up at 5. I'm not teaching at 5, Then I also had people who would come to me and they would say, they're already planning, but they're like, I need some help with a contract. Like I need an actual contract. You can go to LegalZoom. They're going to charge you a lot, but it's also, anyway, let me not talk bad about LegalZoom. Anyway, and then also, Summer, I need help with pricing and package information. I need help with vendors and vendor relationships, right? So this is the new academy I want to show you guys. So I stopped teaching the classes one-on-one because I just didn't have enough time, which is the truth. So I have a lot of students right now and it's really, really great, but hold on. So this is the course bundle. I'm going to go through the different classes that we have. So like right here, like when I was saying the anatomy of a timeline, right? So there are people who come to me again and they're like, okay, I've been planning. I have no idea how to do a timeline. Okay, well, you can come to anatomy of a timeline. You don't need to get the full entire academy. Let's say let's say you have a contract. Let's say you have packaging and pricing. Let's say you have all that stuff, but you're saying, I really need to brush up on my timeline stuff. Okay? Well, everything is in here. And then here's the course curriculum. So I made videos for every single one of them. So it's very similar to this. I can't just read from a script. It's not me. It's boring. It's not who I am. But I go through and there are slides for every, so like the slides that we were just looking at when I was like going through for contracts and for like your brand and stuff, all the slides are in there. It's something that you guys get to take. So those are already notes for yourself, but I also walk you through every single lesson in a video. So I walk you through everything. I give stories, I give examples from my experience, of course, in the industry. And that is something else too that I've heard from so many of my students that they said, they're like, you know what, I was sitting in, I actually just got an email about this, but from one of my first students, but she said she was sitting in a meeting and she was like, I just felt so confident and I felt so good. And I was thinking about something that you had said, like I was thinking about a story that you had told me about blah, 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 whatever the story was she was saying. you know, and she goes, and I jumped in and I said, well, you know, blah, blah, blah. She was referencing something that I had said in one of my classes. And it just completely helped and it changed. Hold on, I have a chat. Let me get to. Hold on one second. I want to see what's what. Yes, you did. Okay, so here we go. All right. So with this course, and again, every single course has the videos. So you are going to be learning from me. And then also you get all of the slides for whatever the course is. So some of the courses have 3 slides. Some of the courses have, I think 33 slides. It's like, it's ridiculous. I'm really bad at like editing myself down. And then you get a sample timeline. Okay, so this sample timeline, not only do I walk you through how I put timelines together, I've been doing this for over 12 years. So not only do I walk you through how I put timelines together, but I also give you a sample timeline. Again, there's no need to reinvent the wheel. Okay, so I give you the sample timeline and then you can say, okay, one thing I do in all my weddings, I do the first dance as soon as they walk in. So the couple gets announced in the reception, you know, the bridal party, and everyone's like dancing, they're doing their thing. Then the couple walks in, and then we do the first dance. And I know that that's not what everyone's used to. I've been doing that for like probably 8 years now. I like everything to run smoothly. Okay, I don't want it to be like, you know, and the DJs who are like, and now, and now, and now, and now, and now. Like I hate that. Like I want us to have a timeline that runs smoothly. You know what I mean? That it's obvious what the next thing is going to be. And the DJ will announce the things that he needs to announce, but rather than saying, and now everyone, if you can all pay attention and gaze your eyes up here, we can do the first dance. No, everyone's already looking. They're already paying attention. The room is like super hype. Everyone's having a good time. The couple walks in. The bridal party stands up there. I always say stand at a half moon with your back to the DJ. It's very, very, go to the dance floor. You guys walk in, back to the with your back to the DJ, half moon. It could be boy, girl, whatever. However you land is how you're going to be. But it's because I don't want the bridal party, woohoo, you know, they're dancing in and they're doing their thing. And then they're like, okay, where's my seat? Where's my seat? I'm like, sit down. You know what I mean? What do you mean, where's my seat? Where's my seat? Listen, no, like we're trying to, we have a production here, you know, like we're doing something here. Let me see this real quick. Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like, we don't need to do, I don't like the start-stop thing. And that's something big. You guys won't hear me. I'm like, don't do it. And then the final walkthrough checklist. So it's funny, when I first started the Academy, I thought that people wanted one thing. I was like, oh, everyone's gonna wanna know how to get their work published. It's like so embarrassing when I say this because it's like very out of touch, right? So it's like one of those things where, you know, I wasn't thinking of like the basic necessities. I was like, oh, people wanna know how to get their work published. No, people wanna learn how to get started, you know? And so obviously I've reframed everything, but I was talking to one of my students and I said something. She was saying that every single time at all of her weddings, there's an issue with linens. Every single time. She's like, we're always short on linens. Like there's always a linen that's missing. There's always, you know, and I just was like, I didn't understand how linens were an issue at every single one of her weddings. And I said, well, what do you guys talk about at the final walkthrough? And she was like, the what? You know, and I was like, well, you know, the final walkthrough. So I'm going to tell you guys what the final walkthrough is. The final walkthrough is a meeting that you have a month before the wedding date. Okay. So, or the event date. Normally it's the wedding, but again, I don't want you guys to only hear wedding and think that you can't get anything for events. Okay. If you only want to do events and you never want to see anything about a wedding in your entire life because you're like, weddings aren't my thing, that doesn't mean that the Academy isn't for you. Okay, that's a side note. So the final walkthrough, that is our super logistic heavy meeting. Again, it's 30 days before the wedding. And so that's when I I don't have my clients go to that because it's wedding talk. So wedding talk is, we're BEO, well, what does the BEO say? Okay, well, on your BEO, it says this. And well, what about the linens? And what about the this, right? No. To our clients, it makes it sound like we don't know what we're talking about. Okay. So I don't have my clients at them unless they're like super picky and they're like, they need it, they have to be there, then fine, whatever. But it's a logistical heavy meeting where, again, that's when we find out, does the venue provide linens? Oh, okay, they provide linens. Well, what linens are they going to have? Oh, the venue doesn't have the sparkly linen that the bride has been talking about since the day she hired me. Okay, so I'm going to have to get the linen from this other place. I'm not purchasing the linen. I'm not paying for the linen, but I will get a proposal for the linen and give it to my clients, and we will move forward with that. But again, the final walkthrough, that's why where this student is from, they don't do that. And I was like, what? She was like, we don't do final walkthroughs. And I was like, oh, that's why you have an issue every single time with the linens. So when you walk out of a final walkthrough, that's where you talk about the vendor meals. Okay, that's when you talk about vendor parking, right? So all this stuff. Now I'm saying this stuff and I know it probably is like, oh God, Summer, stop. Like, it's overwhelming. But listen, this is all the stuff that you need to know, right? And I made it easy. I made you a final walkthrough checklist that you can download and you can study it and you can take it to your meetings. Okay. So again, you can take the sample timeline, you can download the final walkthrough checklist. You have all the slides for yourself, and you have a video. Okay. So this is just one of the things. Let me see. We're going to talk about the course bundle in a minute, but again, everything you need to know about contracts. So again, a lot of people would come to me and they would say, I don't need the full course, and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? Because I just didn't have the capacity to teach, one-on-one for one section. I teach a lot of one-on-one for the entire course, but I just didn't have the capacity and the time to do that. So anyway, but I heard your calling. Okay. I got the message. But again, here we go with contracts. Okay. So everything you need to know about contracts. A solid contract is the cornerstone of a successful business. You'll learn how to protect your business with an airtight contract. You'll receive an attorney-drafted sample contract along with pricing assistance for your growing business. So what that means is, again, this is the video of me walking through every single section of the contract. These are the slides. Again, you get all of the slides that I walk through. You can take notes from them, or you don't even have to take notes. One of my students printed it out, which I was like super obsessed with. I was like, what? She printed it out and she put it in a little book for herself so that she could always have it on hand and reference it. Okay. You get a sample contract. Again, this is the contract that you guys would use for your own students, for your own clients. I even go through and tell you all the different parts that you need to change. Okay. So I explain to you why the section is there, the things that you need to change, and how you need to word things. Then people were saying, I need help with my packages. How am I going to price my work? Right? Yeah, that's a big thing. How am I going to price my work? What are some of the things that I'm going to put in my packages? I have no idea. I also don't know exactly everything I need to do. Well, I've been doing this for 12 years. Like I said, a little over 12 years. I'm telling you everything you need to do. Okay. I'm telling you everything you need to do, and then you can build from there. Let me show you a couple more, because I'm really proud of it, because this is like the only thing I ever do. My sisters will be like, let's hang out. I'm like, at home watching a movie with my laptop and I can finish this. Okay. Etc. is also one of my favorite classes. Okay. So you don't know what you don't know. From the bar package. Okay, this is like wedding talk, so I'll explain it though. From the bar package guide to the final walkthrough checklist, this course is chock full of insider information that will take you from an amateur to an expert, okay? And again, this isn't just like, I'm not just trying to like sell you stuff. This is like the real deal, okay? The real deal. Anyway, sorry. Ignore me. again, the entire video of me going into etc. and I'm explaining the slides and I give you examples from stories and stuff like that. Bar package and explanation. Let me tell you what a bar package is. Bars are what run business for most venues. Okay, so one of my one of my clients, they wanted to get married at this place in Atlanta called the Biltmore. And I never have long engagements, but this bride just like loved her. And so I was like, fine. And I gave her, anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, her engagement was like 2.5 years. And again, I don't take clients on like that anymore, but I loved her and I was like, all right, fine, we'll see what we could do. And she was perfect because we could go months and not talk because everything was done. You know what I mean? Like things were done. I didn't need to be talking to her, once a week. Like I would go months without talking to her because what is there to talk about for 2.5 years? Nothing. Anyway, and so, from her point of view, she's like, oh, I can get married at the Biltmore and it's $4,500. And I'm like, well, that's to rent the space, but the bar package is $6,500 for any, okay. I want everyone to pay attention. Sorry. This is the stuff that you're going to be like, how do you learn this stuff? How do you figure this stuff out? Or, whatever. This is the stuff that, again, it sets you apart from an amateur to an expert. This is when you're able to explain bar packages and you're able to save your clients thousands of dollars because you know how to explain a bar package and you understand a bar package. Okay, so her original wedding date was like December of last year, the year before. Anyway, it was in December. And most weddings you can get like Friday or Sunday, then they don't have bar packages. Okay, so the wedding can be a lot cheaper. Anyway, so she said, well, you know what, it was super expensive. She said, I'll just get married on a Friday. Well, in December, it doesn't matter. Any event that they have, it had a $6,500 bar minimum, okay? But the kicker was that most of the people in her life did not drink, okay? Most of the people in my life don't drink. So there are people, I definitely have people in my world who drink, but it wouldn't be enough for me to, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'll explain this in a minute. That would be an incredible waste of money because that would just be a lot of juice, a lot of soda, a lot of sparkling cider, okay? There could be some alcohol in there, but for the most part, it would be ridiculous. So I found out that if they were to get married in November, then it would be a $4,500 minimum. Okay, that's already $2,000 saved, right? Then we found out if they got married on a Friday, then there was no bar minimum. That's $6,500 saved already, okay? So then she was trying to decide if she was gonna do it based on consumption or if she was gonna do it per person per hour. Longest story short, they saved $12,000 by changing their wedding date. Now, of course, this is something they possibly would have figured out, or if they didn't know that there was a way around it, if they didn't have a planner who was explaining it to them, then they may have just said, all right, the Biltmore is my dream venue, but I can't get married there because it's too expensive. And I'm like, no, you can. Let's figure it out. Also, you heard me say consumption. If this is something else you guys have to know, and this is something that we explain, this is the bar package explanation, okay? So bar packages, like I said, they run these venues, okay? Bar packages run the venues. They tell you, this is all anybody cares about really is the bar because that's how they make their money. It's an event. People want to, whatever, okay? So the bar package explanation, again, it explains to you the meaning of consumption and what consumption means when it comes to a bar, and also whether it's good or not. Okay, so for myself, consumption is the meaning of consumption is just how much is, you don't have a final price before your wedding. You get a bill after the wedding. So you have no control over how much your bar is going to be. Okay. I've had this before, and it can turn out to $19,000. Bars are expensive, especially if you have 300 guests, right? Everybody's drinking. It's this, it's that, whatever. Okay. But for me, consumption would be great because I don't have a lot of people in my world who drink. Also, even if I did have people in my world who drink, they wouldn't drink around my parents. This is like a thing. This is my own thing. You know what I mean? Like, I have a lot of friends who just would never drink in front of my parents. And they also wouldn't drink in front of some of the other guests who I would have at my wedding. So for me, consumption would be great because I'm like, because I already know it wouldn't be some ridiculous astronomical amount of money. But if you did it per person per hour, if you do it per person per hour, that means everyone 21 and over, unless they're pregnant. But that's grandma, that's grandpa, that's mom, dad, 20 years sober. It doesn't matter. Every single person 21 and older, you have to pay for. So you can't, and believe me, my clients have tried, I've even tried. If you go and you say, hey, listen, I have 45 people who do not drink. Like, you got to help me. They'll say, I'm sorry, we just got to do it on consumption. Okay? There isn't a way around most of these things. But as a planner, you have to know how to explain this stuff to your clients so that you can advise your clients, right? Because if you're sitting there at a meeting and the person at the venue is going, I don't know, I think consumption is great. I think consumption makes sense. And, consumption. Well, I'm sitting there and I'm going, I don't know if consumption really does make sense. Or, I can say to them, actually, I can text them. I can't tell you, how like there are memes out there where people are like, if I text you and we're sitting across the room, don't look up and say, what did you text me? It's like, if I'm sitting there and I text you and I'm like, we'll talk about this later. You have to be the advocate for your clients as well. Okay. So anyway, but they're going to sell it because they make more money that way, right? They make commission off of that. Not all places make commission, but again, they want to bring in that money. So if you're sitting there and they're explaining it and you're like, yeah, this sounds great for you guys, but it doesn't sound great for my clients, then you can always, again, you can be the advocate. But how are you going to be the advocate if you don't know what all of this stuff means, right? If your clients say, you know what, I can't do per person per hour because my parents don't drink, grandma doesn't drink. Oh, no. You have to be able to say, actually, it's going to be 21 and over. Every single person, 21 and over, whether they drink or not. These are the things that you have to know, okay? So that's added in there. And then also I have the final walkthrough checklist added in here as well. Again, because these things are important, right? So again, there's a full thing when you go behind the curtain. And then I'm going to show you guys one more, and then I want questions. You guys need to send me some questions. Here's another one. Sorry, how to build a wedding. I call it how to build a wedding because that's literally what you do. Okay. You literally are building this event. Okay. So yeah, how to build a wedding, how to build a party, how to build a baby shower, how to build an event. And I really want you guys to understand that just because certain things say wedding, they're the same elements, okay? So, well, I don't know how to do parties because I just do weddings. Well, you need music, you need food, you need drinks, right? You need all these things for a 50th birthday party. You need all these things. They're the same elements. It's just that some of the stuff, the emotions are a little different, right? If you're doing a corporate event, you don't have to worry about mom and dad paying for it. You know what I mean? At the corporate event, you just get a check. Anyway, so again, I just want you guys to kind of I want you to remember that. And I want you guys to continue telling yourselves that I don't want to do weddings. I want to do events. Well, again, they're the same elements, and this is something that we talk about all throughout the course. And then again, okay, so we have the bar package information in here again. And the reason why, like I said, is because this shows you how important this stuff is, you guys, right? So when you're building a wedding, this is one of the things that you need to know when you're finding a venue. If your clients say, okay, Wendy, I need for you to find me a venue that blah, 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 whatever. these are the requirements that I have. Okay, well, the first thing in how to build a wedding, I'm like, let me just show you real quick. See, this is how I get myself in trouble. I just talk too much and then I get excited. I'm going to go into this. And then again, like I said, if you guys have questions, I want you guys to go ahead and ask me. But real quick, here we go. And also all of the pictures and stuff, these are all my clients. These are all, everything is my work in here. That sounded lame, but it's the truth. Everything is my work. I didn't mean it like that. Okay. But what I wanted to show you. Okay. So this is one of the things that we do in How to Build a Wedding. Excuse me. So we start with, these are the steps that we take. So whenever I sign a client, this is exactly how I start it. Okay. So I always say, so number one, we have to establish a budget. Don't let anyone say, oh, I don't have a budget. Oh, it's unlimited. No, because you know what I'll tell you? To some people, 30,000 is unlimited. And 30,000 is a lot of money. Listen, $10 is a lot of money, okay? $30,000 for a wedding. Yes, I get that. That's not unlimited money for a wedding, okay? So when people say, if someone were to say, oh, it's unlimited. I don't, it's whatever we need. Well, give me a number that we can work toward. And then if we need to add more, then we can add more, right? But you always need something that, you need a target, right? You need something, a guide that's always keeping you on the path, right? So if they say my budget's $50,000, okay, then that's where you're going. So I always ask, is that your final budget or is there room? So if someone were to say to me, my budget is $30,000, I say, is that your final budget or is there room? Because people need to understand that it's not our job to spend their money, okay? And that's something I tell people too. Okay, yes, so sorry. So this is a question. I'm going to interrupt myself. So is it okay to post wedding pictures for inspiration if you don't have your own photos to post? So yeah, and this is something that we talk about as well, and this is something that I encourage for my students when they're looking for content. So if you're going to use photos from someone else, like for inspiration, always give credit to whoever it was, okay? So let's say that, this is one of the things I was telling one of my students a couple weeks ago, rather than doing like a blog post, because she doesn't have a blog yet, she doesn't have a website yet. We're working on that right now, actually. She and I are. But I said, you can do a blog post on Instagram. So find some bouquets that you love. And I was telling her, now, I'm not saying don't go to other event planners' pages, but maybe go to some florist pages. Go to florists, go to InStyle, go to Martha Stewart, whatever, okay? You can use their photos, and you have the swipe through thing, and there are like 10 pictures you can put in there. It doesn't have to be 10, but find some pictures in there and post them. Make sure to give credit though, okay? Give photo credit and give styling credit. And all that information should be there. So then it's like, if you're using it as inspiration, you're creating content, okay? So again, I don't want to hear, I don't have any content. Create some content, okay? Again, like I said, if you're going to use other people's work for inspiration, just give them credit and you're fine and you're good to go. Because I was talking to somebody once and we were looking through something and this is like a potential student, they totally stole somebody's work. And it was so awkward because we were talking when I was looking at their stuff, and it was like a very popular picture too. It was so weird. It was very popular. And like I said, I just let it go. I'm not going to try to embarrass the person, but don't have that happen. Don't have somebody else's work on your page and you're acting like you took it for yourself. Okay. But real quick, back to the budget. Thank you, Coco, for that question. Back to the budget. You also want to let people know that it's not your job to spend their money. And, that's a harsh thing to say, but make sure that you say it in a way, it's not my job to spend your money. Like, I'm not trying to spend your money, but I want to manage expectations, because so much of our job as planners is managing expectations. Okay. So if they come to you, and again, this is like I want to say a myth, but this is something that I see where, and something I've talked to a lot of my students about, especially I've had a new wave of students the last like month. And this is like something that a lot of them have talked about is like, they are losing out on money because they're trying to make their clients' dreams come true and their dreams happen. And I'm like, no. They only get what they pay for. Okay. So I may go above and beyond with service. I'm not losing money that way. Okay. So I may go above and beyond with service. Sometimes but you can't come to me and say, I want a floral wall like Kim and Kanye, but my budget's $400. What? You can get a floral frame. You know what I mean? Like, you see what I'm saying? So much of our job is managing expectations, because if you just say yes, 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 then that's where we're messed up. And let me clarify, because some of you guys are probably thinking, well, didn't you tell people that, to say yes? No. When someone comes to you and says, hey, I want you to plan this party, and you're like, yes, let's do it. Great. Let's talk. You don't say, oh, well, I haven't really done a lot of weddings. I don't really know, or haven't really done a lot of, no. But you've booked the client, they've paid their deposit, and now they're saying, okay, Coco, I want a floral wall like Kim and Kanye's. Work your magic. It's like, what? You know what I mean? Like, but there's this myth, there's this idea that this is what planners do. And I can do a lot as long as you can pay for it. I also ask, what is the most important aspect of your wedding? Okay. I don't prompt them. I just ask them what's the most important aspect of their wedding. And then I wait for them to answer. Once they answer, sometimes people will say, I just want people to have a good time, And so I'll say, okay, so you want there to be like entertainment, like dancing, like a lot. Yes, I want a lot of dancing. Or sometimes I've had clients say, we're foodies. Okay. That means they want good food. I mean, everybody wants good food, but some people are like, I don't care, feed people, save the money, When I ask this question, that means that that's where we're going to put more of the money. So I don't think, I've had clients who've spent $15,000 on wedding invitations. They had a $200,000 budget, so they could afford it. But I don't think that people should spend a lot of money on invitations. I know that it probably isn't a popular thing to say, but if you have a $50,000 budget, why are you spending $7,000 on invitations? Because you know what happens? People look at the invitation. Oh, that's great. They put it on the counter, and then they still call you and ask you questions. That's in the invitation that you spent $7,000 on, right? What can you realistically afford? And so these are also questions, because if someone is saying, this also goes down to knowledge. You need to know the venues in your area. You need to know the popular venues in your area. You need to write some of these hotels and these venues and say, I have clients who are getting married in December. And, can you send me some package and pricing information? Okay. If you have a client who is saying, right. So some people also don't RSVP. This is my feeling about RSVPing. I tell my clients to get on the phone and call if it gets down to it. And I think the worst one that I ever had was a bride who I think she invited like 132, and I think 71 people came. That's a lot of people not to show up to your wedding. That's a lot of food. That's a lot of, it was awful. But yeah, so I'm like, next time you got to get on the phone. And everybody was supposed to be coming in from out of town, so they knew that they weren't hopping in a car or on a plane. But good question. Again, so what can you realistically afford? And that's the question that you ask when you start to realize that people are saying, okay, so Summer, I want to get married at Ventanas. Ventanas is like almost $5,000 just to walk in the door. Okay. Or they say, I want to get married at the estate. If they want to get married at the estate in Atlanta, it's $25,000 just to walk in the door. So if someone says to me, my budget's $30,000, I want to get married at the estate, it's like, well, let's talk. Okay. What can we realistically afford? We don't build weddings based on dreams. Okay. So we can only dream for so long. We have to build on reality. Okay. So, I can only dream with my clients for so long. So again, you don't necessarily want to say that to your clients, but you got to find a way to make that known. Okay. You have to find a way to make that clear. I can only dream with my clients for so long. And that's just the truth. I can only do it for so long. If parents are going to help pay for the wedding, establish when and how much they're going to give and when you'll receive it. Okay. I have a lot of brides who are like, or a lot of people, you know, my dad's going to give me $5,000. My dad's going to give me $10,000. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're still going to work off this $30,000 budget. And when dad gives us the $5,000 or $10,000, then we will have a $35,000 or a $40,000 budget. Okay. We can add on from there, but we're not going to, because I mean, 9 times out of 10, the money doesn't come through, or it's a different price. Or I had one client and they were saying their dad was going to give them, I think it was like $7,500. And she was really kind of banking on it. And then at the last minute, he was like, you guys need to buy a house. I'm going to give you this money. He said, I think he gave him like double, something ridiculous. I think he gave him double if they did it for their house. So he was like, you guys need a down payment for your house. He goes, I'll give you guys $15,000 going towards your house. And he said, if you guys don't want it, then fine, you can have $7,500 for your wedding. Obviously, they chose the money for the house. You know what I mean? Like, obviously. And then remember that everything affects your budget, okay? Everything affects the budget. So the guests affect the budget, obviously, but it's everything affects that. So again, I can literally do this all day because I love this. But what other questions do you guys have for me? I want to go back to, let me see. I want to go back to the Planners Academy. Let me see. And then I think that's it. What I'm going to do, okay, look at me, all extra ahead of myself. Let me do this. Okay, so I mentioned before that I used to teach all the classes one-on-one. So I do offer one-on-one mentoring sessions. It's another thing that you can purchase. It's $150 for 2 mentoring sessions. And again, that could be anything, right? So you could say, I'm having an issue with this wedding coming up, blah, 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 whatever. Okay. We can sit down and we'll talk about it. This is something else that I wanted to go to actually. Okay. So the course bundle here, it's actually showing you a different overview. Here we go. Okay. So the course bundle, this is every single thing. And at the end of the course bundle, this is the one where you get certified. So you only get certification if you go through the entire course. But again, some people feel like they don't need certification, or again, some people don't feel like they need to go through the entire thing, which is fine. It's completely up to you. And that's why I did it the way that I did, because I think that there's something for everyone. So the course bundle, it's $549 on Tuesday. What's today? Wednesday. On Tuesday, it's going up to $999. Now, I've been telling everybody, every time I have a Q&A, every time I talk to people, I'm always like, the prices are going up. The prices are going up. The prices are going up. And people are like, I don't know. Anyway, it's $549 until Tuesday. Now, if you go ahead and you purchase it and you pay it in full, then you get 3 one-on-ones with me. So that could be me teaching you some of the courses one-on-one. That could be, it could literally be anything that you guys want. A lot of my students, I have one student right now who's in Canada, and I think we've had like 3 or 4 classes, and we've made it through like 2 courses. But that's because she has a lot of events and she needs help with those. And so that's what we spend a lot of our time on. Anyway, let's go through quickly the course bundle. And also you can break that up into 2 payments. So, but again, it would have to be purchased between now and Tuesday. But after Tuesday, it goes up to $999, and the extra one-on-ones are not available. Let's see. So the course bundle. So see, I said some of them are like, they're like 4 lessons or whatever. This one has 20, because this is everything. So these are all of the videos, and they're all of the slides, and they're all of you get the contract and the pricing packages and the vendor organization lists and the sample wedding timeline, the first meeting checklist, the final walkthrough, the bar package guide. It's literally everything. And again, with this course, then you do get certified. And again, the certification, that's part of your resume. That's what goes in your Instagram profile, right? Certified wedding and event planner. Are people going to choose a certified wedding and event planner, or are they going to choose so-and-so who says, I like weddings? They're probably going to choose the certified wedding and event planner. Let me see. What questions do you guys have? I feel like I've just been talking because I get excited, but maybe you guys don't have any questions. No, I don't leave a lot of room. Yes? I see you. What is your name again? Oh, I think you have to, wait, hold on.
Oh, there we go. Titania.
Yeah.
One question that I do have is in regards to social media. I know for me, like even my personal social media is, it's just not really my gig, which is fine. I'm just not that big into it, but I do know that when it comes to marketing for your business and just showing just a presence, if you will, for your intended audience and everything. Are there any tips that you could give when it comes to just like mapping it out? And I know like there's I don't want to say a software, but Hootsuite. That's one where you can send out like the schedule, your whatchamacallit. But just in general, like any tips on getting the ball rolling when it comes to actually putting out content. I know that's one of the things that I'm having an issue with, is just like that brainstorming like time, if you will, and actually having that time and actually having it being productive and actually having results, if you will. So yeah.
So no, that's a great question. So okay, I kind of look at it like this. I think when you're yourself, it's easier to come up with content. So I think when you're saying like taking the time and actually using the time, like using the time to come up with captions, and is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and just like things that you would post, like for instance, when you spoke about inspiration, like finding inspiration and then, putting that out there. Just, I guess, planning and deciding what to put out there, especially with wanting it to coincide with your brand. That's another thing that I'm having kind of with is the things that I am looking to post and or have posted in the past. I'm not sure, or it doesn't really feel like it coincides, if you will, or just matches with my brand, but it is something that I have done. And so it's that thing. It's like, but I've done it, but it doesn't quite align with, what I'm trying to put out there for my brand, if you will.
So I mean, if it's old work and you're like, oh, it's good, but it doesn't really represent who I am now or the work that I want to do now, it's okay to delete it.
Okay.
Because it seems, because I know how it's like, but that's content, that's work that I've done.
Yeah.
If it's not work that you want to show off now, then it's like, it's not really work that you've done. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you go to my blog and you go to like, when I first started it, like, it's like, we all start somewhere,
Right.
But it's fine. And I mean, that's on my blog, but I'm probably not reposting those photos like on my Instagram and stuff like that, And so, And so also when it comes to what to post, I mean, if you don't have the content yet, if you don't have the personal work yet, then, how do you want to represent your brand? Again, inspirational quotes are great. You don't want to do them all the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you are a wedding page. You're not an inspirational quote page. You know what I'm saying? And also about finding the time, you have to make the time, right? Because, I was reading something today, they're like, if you have a 9 to 5, you have from 5 to 9, to do what you need to do. And it sucks and it's hard. It's like the same thing with working out. It's like, if you have to be at work at 8 and you know that you have to get a workout in, or you've told yourself that you're going to get your workouts in and blah, 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 you got to wake up earlier and do it. So you could set your alarm for whatever time, your schedule for whatever time every single day. And that means to go post something. Now, if you use Hootsuite, whatever you do, maybe on Sundays, it's like meal prepping, nobody wants to sit there for hours cooking a bunch of food, but it's what they have to do to reach their goals. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't have the time, but you're like, I will invest in Hootsuite, then that's what you need to do. You know what I'm saying? And you need to sit down and you need to say, okay, or if you don't want to invest in Hootsuite, sit down and map out what your thing is. Go to Canva, put the pictures and the captions and whatever, right? And then you decide, this is what I put up for Monday. This, and again, when it comes to captions and stuff like that, be yourself, right? So, you know, you guys, anyway, sorry, I was about to interrupt myself, but yeah, so I always say, you know, like, it's a celebration every time we link up, right? I mean, and I love that. And that's what I put in my emails all the time, because I'm like, let's have fun. Like, let's have fun. Let's talk about business. Let's have fun. Let's do this. You know what I mean? Like, it's a celebration. Also, it is a celebration every time we link up, because we talk about weddings and events. Okay? Make it something of your own. A lot of times on my Instagram, I'm like, oh, hi. You know, I'm like, oh my God, I'm dying. Do you guys see this picture? You know, whatever. So you don't have to come up with some amazing, inspirational caption. You can do anything that you want, but make it something, like I said, of your own. You know, like, when I started being myself was when I was finding more success in my business. And that's the truth. You know, like I said, like, I could pretend to say, you know, it's just a good part of your resume. No, we want to flex sometimes, right? Like, this is what we want to do. We want to flex. But sometimes you're not going to be sitting in class and your teacher's going to tell you to flex. You see what I'm saying? Like, you have to make it your own so that because then it's more comfortable, so that you don't have to keep switching between characters. Get what I'm saying? We don't have to put our corporate voice on so much. What other questions do we have? Do you have any other ones, Tatiana? Titania. Got it. Sorry, Titania. Sorry.
You did it. You got it. Hey.
I was like, I know it's not Tatiana. I sure said Tatiana, but I know it's not Tatiana. Sorry.
No, not as of yet. Well, when you were just starting out and you know, were writing your contract and everything, did you first go to like a lawyer and all that, or did you kind of like bits and pieces from like different contracts that you found like in other places and just kind of made your own?
No, I had an attorney draft it at the very beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, because I knew how important it was. Yeah. That's the whole thing, is that I knew how important it was. And the only time I've ever changed my contract, I did it twice and I regretted it because it came to bite me in the butt. And it was about payment options. So I get paid 30 days before the event, my final payment, because we do a lot of work up until that time. And and at the time it was 2 weeks before, and they wanted to pay me on the day of the wedding. And I was like, no, because you know what happens when you get paid on the day of the wedding? Oh my God, I forgot my checkbook. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then, you know, you don't want to talk about money on the wedding day.
Right.
And then something happens and then they go, well, Summer, I really want to talk to you because I was really upset with, you know, the music not starting on time. And so I'm really having a hard time handing over your final $5,000. What? They will try you. They will try you. And that's why you have to have a good contract. Yeah. And so again, I just want to go over this and then I'm going to stop us for the night. And again, you guys, if you have any questions, now's your time to ask, because I get a lot of questions in my DMs and I get a lot of emails. I mean, I'll answer them then too. But again, I want to talk about this so that you guys understand. Again, the course bundle, it is going up to $9.99 on Tuesday. I have kept it low because I wanted to give people as many options. But we're just not there anymore. So like I said, if you purchase, it's $549. If you purchase it in full, then you get 3 one-on-ones with me. And those we can use them however you want. They don't have to be, you can call me in a year and say, can we finish up our one-on-ones? Yep, sure, we can. Absolutely. Okay, I have this event that's happening. It's a baby shower. I need you to walk me through ABC. Okay? If you want to do the course bundle, but you want to make payments, then you can make 2 payments, but you just don't get you don't get the 3 one-on-ones with me. And that's it. Or you could say, you know what? I don't need the course bundle at all, but I do need a solid contract. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to enroll in this. I'm going to get that contract. I'm going to use it for all my clients. You know, I don't know how to put a timeline together, or I've put a timeline together, but I know it can be better. Let me go ahead and get this, you know, let me go ahead and enroll in the timeline. Let's see. Yes, everyone needs a contract. Yes, sorry, I'm looking at my, yes, you need a contract. Listen, but this is the thing. It's so funny because people were like, why do you want to break it up? I want to break it up because I want people to get what they need, okay? So everyone needs a contract. So yeah, so Tracy, yes, time for a contract, go ahead and get it. Like I said, the thing is though, it's not just a contract that you're getting. I'm walking you through every single aspect of it so that you understand it, right? And so that you can explain it to your clients and so that you can understand, let's see. Okay, sorry, I thought I just got another message. But yeah, but you wanna make sure that you're able to explain the contract to all of your clients. Hold on. Yeah, so you wanna make sure that you can explain it to all your clients, again, because this is part of the business, right? This is also our business confidence, right? So when we know what we're talking about and we know that we're covered, we know what to charge, we know we don't have to worry about bridezillas. Like I said, bridezillas are real and they suck, you know? And like I said, so I encourage you guys all to go through. It's on my website, which I'm so excited about. Like I said, you guys can go through and look through some of them, look through all of them if you want. Obviously, you don't have to pay for it just by clicking on it, but I want you to see. And they're all priced differently, right? So they're priced like how to book your bride and groom. I love this course a lot. I actually love all the courses. But these are different tips and stuff, like how to book the bride and groom. Let me see. And then you have your, hold on, it's taking a minute to load. But see, you also get your first meeting checklist. So in every single course, you get something that helps you move forward in your business. You guys don't need to purchase your brand because we went over that tonight a lot. But anyway, like I said, I want you guys to kind of play around with it. Again, we have the one-on-one mentoring sessions. And if you guys want to go ahead and you do want to make payments, if you guys decide that you want to do the right thing and and advance your career and get the course bundle, if you want, no, I'm just kidding. But if you want to do that and you want to make payments, you can email me and I can send you a link. See, so this is, I'm not going to go through this whole thing.
Again, my name is.
See, so I just walk you through the entire thing. This was.
Where's the florist? You know, I'm like, what is going on? Where is the florist? And they weren't there.
See, unfortunately, I told you, I'm myself in the videos and every day. But if you do decide that you want to make the two payments, like I said, it's $247.50 gets you the special price, and then the other $247.50 is due in another 30 days, and then you can get it immediately, right? You can go ahead and get started. But if you want to pay in full, like I said, then you can just go to the link that's originally on there. But if you do want to make the payments, I'm going to send you an email in a minute when we're done, but send me an email and let's get you guys started. Like, let's get going in a time like the present. Okay. Any other questions before we go? Unfortunately, I don't want to go, but I guess you guys have lives. Hold on. Let's see. I guess you guys have other things to do. Oh, thank you, Coco. Let me see. Plan a few parties, some day of coordinated, a few weddings. You want to do that? Yes, yes. Listen, this is the good thing about when it comes to weddings and events, right? So you know when you do like a typical, so the question is, I've planned a few parties and day of coordinated a few weddings, but I do not have an official business yet. Am I able to add that onto my resume as experience? Absolutely, yes. Yes, add that on as experience because that is your experience. And like I said, one of the greatest things about doing weddings and events is that, you know, when you work like in a corporate environment and you're like, I worked at Bank of America, or I worked at Starbucks, or that's not corporate, but you know, or I worked at Starbucks corporate, you know, then they're like, well, how long? And did that really mean blah, blah, blah? Oh, I've actually planned, I've planned 7 weddings. I've assisted in 7 weddings, right? So they're not going to say, I want you to write out every single thing that you've done, right? And even that, like what you're asking about, like, am I able to add this onto my resume? Yes, but also know that planners' resumes are different, right? We don't have something that we print out and hand to people. Our stuff is different, and that's why, like I said, I talk about Instagram and I talk about social media and your website and stuff like that. That's the reason why I talk about those things the way that I do, because those things are our resumes. And that's why if you take information from another site, if you take information from somewhere else, then that means that's why you want to give them credit, or else you're saying, I worked at Bank of America for 20 years. You're like, instead of, I like this font that this person used who worked at Bank of America for 20 years. You know what I mean? But thank you. Yeah. And also, I mean, I have reviews. I love them. Let me see. Actually, I think that's it. Let me look up one more thing, because I know you guys have to go. Everybody has lives. Hold on, one quick thing. Actually, I'm going to send you guys, I'm going to email everyone. And also I'm going to email this to you guys too. And then again, like I said, if you do want to do installments, then just go ahead and send me an email, and then I'll send you the link for the installments. But I'm going to send another email in a minute, just so that you guys can see. And then it's going to have this playback. I'm trying to find something to show you guys. I think this is it. Okay, here's the last thing, and then I will let you guys, I will set you all free. I know, again, we all have lives. But I just wanted to look at one of the, not one, but so this is what I used to have up before I had the classes. And so this review from one of my students, I really, really love. And I put it on here, and I'm just going to read it to you guys, because again, it's easy for me to tell you guys that you need it, and it's, but I want you guys to hear it from someone who isn't me. Okay. Summer came into my life right when I needed her. Being new to the industry, I started with eyes wide open, ready to learn as much as I could from whoever I could. Unfortunately, I left many educational platforms wanting. The info I needed wasn't being shared, and I'm so grateful that Summer and I crossed paths. Through her mentorship, I received valuable feedback on my work and ways I can strategically tweak my approach to booking and serving clients. Summer also celebrated the areas in which I'm thriving, which means the world to me and confirms that I'm on the right path. Thanks to Summer, I feel less alone and confused in owning my wedding business. Summer's experience and perspective have served her and now me very well. Well, she didn't say very, sorry. With the tools she gave me, I no longer feel like I'm just keeping my head above water. I now have confidence to really own my business and provide an incredible experience to my couples. And so I read that so that not only to flex, but so that you guys understand that, again, I could tell you guys all day that this is where you guys need to be, and that, this is, that this is where you guys need to be or whatever, but I think it's also good to hear from other people. So if that is it, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to log off with you guys, but thank you guys so much for joining. And again, I'm going to send you an email. And if you do, like I said, if you want to go ahead and pay in full, you're welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Sorry, a chat I was trying to do, but again, if you want to do paid in full, you get 3 one-on-ones with me. And again, that is anything. It is anything and everything that you guys want to talk about. If you guys want me to walk you through a situation you're having, if you want to walk, an entire event, then we'll do that too. And also, if you want to do the payments, again, I'm going to email you guys, and then just respond to me and say, send me the payment link, and we're good to go. Okay. All right. Yay. All right. Have a good night, you guys, and I will talk to you all soon. All right. Bye.